and welcome to this episode of Senior Living. Well, viewers, it is truly fall. October's here. It's the first full month of the fall season, and the first month where we can kind of expect to see temperatures start to change a little bit. October typically brings us highs in the 80s, lows in the 50s. Great weather for all kinds of things that are going on. October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is also National Arts and Humanities Month, Dental Hygiene Month. It's Popcorn Poppin' Month. Great things going on throughout the country. Most importantly, right here in the Verde Valley, we've got a lot of great things going on. The first weekends in Jerome and Sedona. The painted barrels will be on display along with the Great Stomp. We've got the Sedona Chili Cook-Off, Blues Jam sessions, and our first guest is going to tell us about one of the biggest, best October events in the entire Verde Valley. Just one of them, though. But that is the Fort Verde Days celebration. Along with that comes not only the parade, which Verde Valley Television will be covering this year right here on Channel 2, but also the carnival, a lot of historic events at the fort, and back this year for the first time in several years, the quilt show. Jeanette, thank you very, very much for coming, and we really appreciate the fact that you took a little bit of time.
Thanks for having me.
And welcome. The quilt show. We had Camp Verde Promotions on our show several months ago talking about a lot of different events that you stage. And you mentioned it at the time, and the fact that it used to be part of the Fort Verde Day celebration, and we brought it back. Tell me about how that happened.
It used to be at our local Methodist church until the show got too big for the size of the church, and they decided to disband the show. So I think it's probably been 15 or 20 years. And we wanted to bring it back because Camp Verde is the kind of town that you would see old-fashioned things, and quilts to some people are old-fashioned. So we decided to bring the show back, and we have room in the big gymnasium downtown, the old gymnasium, and so we'll have 169 quilts on display at the show this year.
Holy moly! Is that the final number, or will there be more?
No, that's the final number.
Okay.
We had our cutoff a while back, so we're now just doing our map of where we're going to put everything. And the show will be a little bit different than a typical quilt show. We'll have a lot of full-size quilts hanging, but we have a lot of smaller quilts or quilts that don't have the ability to be hung on a quilt rack. We're going to be displaying them in old-fashioned room vignettes. We'll have old beds, rocking chairs, trunks, and quilts will be folded over things, coming off of out from underneath sewing machines, looking like they've been sewed on. We'll have an old-fashioned quilt rack to show how quilts used to be made. It's going to be very interesting.
Somebody's put a lot of work into this.
We have.
It sounds like it'll be pretty fascinating. Without giving away too much of what people can expect to see, what's a good hint that you can give us about maybe a unique quilt or one of the older ones? Is there any kind of a hint that you'd give us? There is.
There is a quilt that was made here in the Verde Valley in the early 1900s, and it's called a mammy quilt. And it is, I don't want to describe too much about what it's about, but
don't ruin the surprise.
it's been appraised at quite a large amount, and it is a local quilt. And we will have a quilt appraiser at the show. Her name is Eunice Hill. She's an internationally famous quilter plus appraiser, and she now fortunately lives here in Cornville. And she's going to be at our show, and she's going to specifically talk about the mammy quilt in a lecture that she does between 2 and 3 on Saturday afternoon. And she'll be available all day Saturday for quilt appraisals. So from about 10 until 6, we'll do quilt appraisals every half hour.
The quilt show does run all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right.
Friday 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, Ms. Hill's presentation that she's going to make is on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. She'll be there on Saturday only.
Okay.
And then doing appraisals every half hour, and then at 2 o'clock she'll be doing a free lecture on what is in your quilt, how you can tell, and she will tell how she can tell how old it is by the fabric, the pattern, the method of putting it together.
Oh, that'll be fascinating. There are a lot of parts and pieces to the entire Fort Verde Day celebration, but I think it's appropriate. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy that the quilt show has been brought back. If you visit the fort itself, in the different houses, the different buildings on property, several of them have quilts as part of their display anyway, so it feels like it just fits right into the Fort Verde Days.
And our Camp Verde Historical Society is displaying 4 of the quilts that are normally on display in the museum at the quilt show.
Very, very nice. Again, Fort Verde Days Quilt Show, October 12th, 13th, and 14th. And on Saturday, the 13th, what a great opportunity to visit with someone who really knows her quilts. And again, I think you mentioned it, but she's been a seamstress, been making quilts for years as well, so she knows it inside and out. And
she's an internationally famous quilter. She's won many times at the big quilt shows in the country, most notably at the Paducah, Kentucky show, and that's like winning the Super Bowl of quilters. And she's done that many times. That's a great show. I read a little bit about it after I read about her, so that's awesome. Fort Verde Days, the quilt show all 3 days, the Fort Verde Days Parade on the 13th. Real quick reminder too, there's going to be a great carnival. This is fun for all ages in the carnival. There are pre-sale tickets on sale, and you save $7 if you buy them ahead of time. They are available at, and I have a list of where they're available: Sweet Grace, Thanks a Latte, Taekwondo, the Cowboy Shop, Brandy's Kitchen, Healthy Times, Bashes, Laid Back Jewelry, and Camp Verde Feeds. Save a little bit of money and take all the kids and enjoy yourself. Jeanette, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you. As I mentioned, Verde Valley TV will be at the parade. Great. We're going to come in and hopefully be able to get a few pictures of the quilt show itself. Find me so I can say hello.
We'll do that. You be there too, and we are going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this.
You meet other people of your age or older. They are still active and interested. This gives you a bit of a boost too. And I'm taking an art class and football for feminists. Yavapai College, Life Explored.
I have a bachelor's degree already. I have a career job. When I realized I wasn't happy, I decided that I was going to go back and attend art school, which is something I had always wanted to do. I really have explored new avenues in my life. Yavapai College, Life Explored.
My mom's a hardcore enabler. I first realized it when she said we should have a party at our house.
Have fun tonight? You ready?
She even got my dad to say
just
okay.
lighten up a little bit.
They're teenagers. She's so hooked on enabling that my friends think she's their buddy. She doesn't care. Why should I?
Enabling is a drug. Get help. The partnership at drugfree.org.
Now the big guy comes off the bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. As promised, we've got another great guest that's going to tell us a little bit about one of our local attractions that has so much to offer. Wayne Fisher, Heritage Park Zoo, you are the animal care manager.
I am, Pam.
And it's very nice to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Oh, our pleasure. We have been trying to get together for a little bit, so this works out great. Heritage Park Zoo, as I understand, is actually the Heritage Park Zoological Society. Sanctuary. And lots of different kinds of things that we can enjoy seeing. It's a rescue. There are conservation and protection plans implemented. Tell us a little bit more about the details.
Yes, and it's amazing too. You know, when I first moved out to the Prescott area in 2004, I didn't know there was a zoo there, and I found it, and how exciting. I'm a zoo guy and a zookeeper at Trait. And so lo and behold, I got a job there, and it's wonderful to find out it's just not a zoo. We don't go out and purchase animals for the sole purpose of trying to get folks in the door. We are a sanctuary. So we provide a home for those that are unable to be returned to the wild, whether exotics or indigenous to Arizona or North America. We provide conservation and educational programs throughout the years to help educate folks on these animals and maybe what to do if they come across them, whether they're in good health or the animal is maybe ill or you know, some type of injury or such.
Right. I know that as I discovered that the zoo was over there, we have bears and wolves and some of the things that you would expect to see at a zoo, but we also have things that we wouldn't necessarily expect to see at a high desert area zoo. And some of those animals, talk a little bit about those.
Well, right. You think of Arizona, you know, you're thinking of javelinas and bobcats and mountain lions and rattlesnakes, and we have all those guys. But we also have Cassie, a gorgeous, beautiful Bengal tiger who came from us just a few years ago from a zoo in Nebraska that unfortunately closed down. And Cassie and her two brothers were going to be euthanized if they didn't find a home. And we had an opening. Our long-lived tiger, Samson, had just recently passed away before that, and we could able to provide a home for Cassie, and her two brothers went to another facility, so that worked out. But we also have primates as tamarins and lemurs, and as well as many, many different species of exotic reptiles and arachnids as well.
You brought us a couple of visitors to visit with, didn't you?
I always got to bring visitors.
Well, let's meet them.
So we're going to meet a couple of these guys, and one is very common in the pet trade. This is a gorgeous, beautiful ball python snake, and again, popular in the pet trade. And if you were ever thinking about having a snake for a pet, this is probably one of the first great first pet snakes to have. These guys get about 4 to 5 feet. Here in the United States, they're called ball pythons. In Europe, they're called royal pythons. But these guys have a very docile temperament, very sweet, and they're great to be handled as well, too.
A snake would not be at the top of my list, but he's awful curious and actually almost seems like there's a personality there.
There are, and not many people might think that reptiles have personalities, and they truly do. Again, this snake is from Africa, so it's not a particular snake that you would find around this area unless it perhaps got escaped or such like that. Right. And he is smelling with his tongue, and that's how snakes smell. Oh. And his tongue is forked, so he can smell and sense to the left and to the right of him.
Wow. Do snakes hear?
They do not have outer ears. They have inner ears, so they hear vibrations.
Okay.
And they don't have eyelids, so their eyes are always open. And a lot of people I ask too when I bring out snakes is, how many teeth does this guy have? And I get 0, I get 4, I get 2. Well, even when born, this guy has over 120 razor sharp teeth. And those teeth are curved backwards, and their primary purpose really is to grasp and hold their prey. So they can constrict. So if the bite on this snake you don't have to worry about, it's the constriction that you would have to worry about.
Well, as I petted him, the one thing that I noticed that I hear a lot, slimy snakes, he is definitely not slimy.
Snakes are not slimy, worms are.
Okay.
Smooth skin, very smooth, but definitely not slimy at all. And many of us, you know, I do classes, reptile classes all the time, and I ask, you know, how many's afraid of the snake, and 2/3 of the class or program will raise their hands and ask, why are you afraid? And basically the number one answer is, I just am. And you know, throughout the years, snakes have had a terrible reputation. Hollywood kind of portrays them most of the time as the bad guy. They are not going to take over an airplane. As snakes in the planes portrayed, or chase you down the road. In actuality, all snakes can only move around 2 or 3 miles an hour as their top speed, with the exception of a couple. But this guy here, and even a 25-foot python, could strike out a third length of its body in any direction over 100 miles an hour.
So first of all, do you have a name, sir?
This is Pierce. I'm sorry, Wheeler.
This is Wheeler. Okay, yes. Wheeler, how big are you? How long are you?
Wheeler is about 4 feet. And when we got Wheeler in,
are you going to have my water?
We've had Wheeler for probably about 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And normally with reptiles, because we don't put them together, we don't sex them at all. And the previous owner said it was a male. Well, just about a year ago, lo and behold, Ms. Wheeler had some eggs in her enclosure. So we know now that she's a female. And like I said, we don't normally sex them because it doesn't matter to us, because we don't do any breeding at all.
Well, Wheeler, we're going to take, Ms. Wheeler, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. We have one more guest to meet from the Heritage Park Zoological Sanctuary. We'll be back right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Ben Bueller, owner and funeral director at Bueller Funeral Homes. My grandfather once told me, you can serve a family selfishly once, or treat them right and serve that family for generations.
Bueller Funeral Home has been serving Arizona families for 3 generations with affordable and reasonable services. Bueller Funeral Home feels a funeral should be as unique and personal as the individual it honors, whatever your choices, your traditions, or your budget.
Welcome back, everyone, and we have been joined, again, our guest Wayne Fisher with the Heritage Park Zoological Sanctuary. Now we've been joined by another guest, and Wayne, tell us who this is.
Well, yes, who I have here is Mr. Moses, and Moses is indigenous to Arizona.
Really?
He is one of only 2 venomous lizards in the world. So Moses, like a rattlesnake, is venomous. These guys are very well protected throughout Arizona. You cannot catch them up and take them home as a pets and that. But Moses is a wonderful, docile type lizard, moves pretty slow. Even in the wild, they're kind of nonchalant and slow moving.
And what's his official what kind of lizard is he officially?
Gila monster.
He is a Gila monster.
Did I not say that? I'm sorry. Yes, he's a Gila monster. And the other venomous lizard is a bearded lizard, which looks just like a Gila monster, except for really they're about 3 times as big, and they're more yellow and black as opposed to the pink and black of the Gila monster.
Of the Gila monster. Okay, but he's venomous. How can you hold on to him like that?
His head is pointing towards you, so I'm not worried about it. No. You know, we've had Moses for quite some time. He realizes we're not a threat to him.
Okay.
And mainly when they use their venom, it's to catch prey.
Okay.
So they'll latch on like a dog, and they'll kind of gnaw at you a little bit right there. And they don't have front fangs like a rattlesnake does, but more of the rear fangs. And so they gotta bite you, gnaw on you a little bit to inject that venom into it.
Got it.
And the venom is mainly to help not only
Can I touch him?
Yes. Mainly to
oh, you're nice.
Help immobilize the prey, as well as to start breaking the prey down from within inside to be easier to digest.
And valid point, I think, anytime even rattlesnakes, the venomous snakes, they don't really want to, they're not looking to bite you.
They're not looking to bite. That's their last resort. They feel that they have no choice in the matter but to strike out and bite because they fear their life is in danger. And generally snakes are going to bite for 2 reasons. One, just that they fear their life is in danger, and two, basically to eat.
They're hungry.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you kind of look like you're smiling. I'm not sure that you are, but you kind of look like
Oh, he's
it.
having fun.
Yeah, he's enjoying the celebrity. Now, at the sanctuary, if you do some classes on reptiles, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about those.
Well, we put on different type of programs throughout the year. I've been doing reptile rescue work for 19 years, both in New York, which not too many reptiles in Buffalo, New York.
Right.
So when I moved to Arizona, it was great. And to educate those in the proper handling of these guys, as well as the proper care of them. Reptiles have far greater needs as an animal than, let's say, a mammal or a bird.
They can get sick very easily in captivity.
Yes, and turtles and tortoises get respiratory problems, as well as the snakes and the lizards. And many times, just like most animals, when they start showing signs of illnesses is almost when they're at their peak and a very dangerous time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There are a lot of things going on at the Heritage Park Zoo. Fall Zoo Camp is coming up October 8th through 12th, and that is for some of the younger kids. So if we've got grandchildren out there, different friends and neighbors, this sounds like a great opportunity for the kids.
It's a lot of fun. Our education department, very wonderful. Leia, she heads this, gives these youngsters an opportunity to spend all day at the zoo doing different type of projects, animal interaction, building things, helping things, help just doing different things throughout the zoo and to educate them just on the wildlife that we do have.
Excellent. Another opportunity along those lines, the Zoo Fest later in the month, and games, special interactive kinds of things that you can do with the animals?
Yes, what we do a lot of times is we have people kind of think of things as what we call enrichment. And it could be a simple box, a cardboard box that you might put food in there and such, and we give it to one of the animals, like maybe one of the primates or the bears, raccoons, and they got to try to figure out how to open that box to get into that food, or even a pinata, having it like that, hanging there, and they got to figure out how to open it. So it gives these youngsters an opportunity to help maybe build things as well too, and just think of creative ways, because we don't just have the animals and stick them in the enclosure and say thank you and feed them and everything. We want to enrich their lives on a daily basis and to try to stimulate them as well as in a captive environment the best that we can.
And something else, the Wallaby Walkabout, I read about that. So that's kind of interactive too, it sounds like.
Yeah, we have a couple wallabies. We have Wally and James, a father and son. You can be able to come into this enclosure. Now there is a roped off area, so you can't get too far to give them some privacy in the event that they don't want to interact. But many times these wallabies will hop right through people or stand right there. They're a short little guy, probably about 4 feet high is what their tops are, but very personable as well. And in the same enclosure, we have an African spur tortoise, the third largest in the world. It's about 25 inches long, and he'll come up and visit people. You get to pet him, and he's hoping that you have some lettuce with you or a carrot or something like that. So that's fun.
Yeah, sounds like it. And of course, this sounds like my favorite during the month of October, the Boo at the Zoo on Halloween night. That's a bring your flashlight, you get to see what the animals do after dark, huh?
Yes, not only that, but we have Zoo by Moonlights and other times that we have the zoo open till 8 o'clock that you could bring a flashlight and look at the animals. But I love Halloween, many of us do. And it's a nice time just to kind of dress up. We have candy throughout the zoo that you'll be able to walk along and visit the animals. We have pumpkins that we'll put into the enclosures that will open up and put food inside the pumpkins to allow the animals, again, just like the boxes open. Because you might have a mountain lion who doesn't eat a pumpkin, but he might eat some meat that we plant inside. So it's fun watching him try to get inside the pumpkin and open it up. And the kids, again, are walking around, just having a fun time, a nice, safe family entertainment area that you can get have a few candies and have a nice time.
Nice evening, sounds like it. What We're about to run out of time, but I wanted to just ask you, what's the most important thing to you that we need to know about Heritage Park?
Well, that we've been around since 1985, and once again, we are a sanctuary. We're not owned by anyone. The city doesn't own us. Not any one individual doesn't own us. So, you know, our fundings and that are provided for those folks that are coming through the door and any type of donations. And we certainly love and appreciate that, but more than anything, the understanding what the Heritage Park Zoological Sanctuary is about is the conservation education throughout not only North America but of the world. It's just to try to help educate and provide good quality homes for those that cannot have them anymore, and to educate those who maybe are looking for some information or answers on the animals. And we're there, and we'll help. We get hundreds of animals in a year, from little baby birds to baby bunnies and stuff that someone found on their driveway, or the dog or cat brought in, and what do we do with it? They give us a call, bring it in. We try to do immediate first aid, or you know, dehydration or anything that maybe it needs to. Then we get it to a licensed rehabber as soon as possible, because they have more time to spend with a particular species that they're maybe more qualified for, and to try to help rehabilitate those animals, to get them up and get them released back into the wild. Unfortunately, our animals cannot be released back into the wild. So at that same time, come and see these guys. We have folks that come for years and have their favorites. And
there are memberships available. Heritage Park Zoological Sanctuary is kind of on the north side of Prescott by Willow Lake.
Yes.
And the invitation, as Mr. Fisher just extended, is there, and there's some great opportunities. Information's been available. Thank you so much for bringing Moses and Wheeler in. The gentleman and the lady, we were very, very honored to visit with them. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to it again.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a short break, and we will be back right after these messages.
If spirit means you feel good, then I've accomplished that goal, because I do feel good physically and I feel good mentally. My name is Bob, and I'm a lifelong learner at Yavapai College. Life Explored.
I think it's just the time where you become who you are. You have to learn what really makes you, defines you. Exploring life, trying new things, following your dreams. My name is Ryzen. I'm a student at Yavapai College. Life Explored.
My mom's a hardcore enabler. I first realized it when she said we should have a party at our house.
Have fun tonight? You ready?
She even got my dad to say okay.
Just lighten up a little bit.
They're teenagers. She's so hooked on enabling that my friends think she's their buddy. She doesn't care. Why should I?
Enabling is a drug. Get help. The partnership at drugfree.org.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. Again, there are so many things going on throughout the Verde Valley, and one of my favorite places, and you can probably tell that a little bit because I try to keep everybody up to date on what's going on in Jerome. And the next, in addition to the First Fridays, the art walks, 'tis the season, and coming right around the corner is the Jerome Ghost Walk. And we want to welcome Jay Kinsella, who's going to fill us in a little bit more about it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
My pleasure, my pleasure. 10th annual Jerome Ghost Walk.
Yes.
So for 9 years, people have gotten to experience what Jerome maybe used to be about 100 years ago?
The true history.
There you go.
The society 10 years ago, well, this year being the 10th year, decided we get a lot of tours in Jerome, and people that aren't necessarily too adapt to the truth and things like that as far as the true history of Jerome and what we stand for. So the society started the Ghost Walk. And the Ghost Walk is set up, and basically tells the history of Jerome in different segments. And we have an extensive research and archives amongst the society. And so we pick out some really juicy stories and things like that that will pique the visitors' interest in things. And this year's is really special. First of all, it's 10 years.
Right.
On top of the 10 years is people didn't really understand the role of the Historical Society. They used to come to the Ghost Walk, but they didn't understand the role itself of what the society is about.
Okay.
So this year, the underlying issue of the Ghost Walk is the establishment of the Jerome Historical Society, established back in 1953. A lot of people don't know that if it wasn't for the society, what you see of Jerome now wouldn't be there.
Correct, yeah.
So we played an intricate role, and we continue to play the intricate role as a liaison between researchers, the town of Jerome, and different identities in Jerome. But for the past 2 years, we've been asked to, especially with our return visitors and things like that, and guests of the show, they want kind of a best of the best. So this year, we're going to put out the best of the last 10 years. We're going to have 9 scenes. It's going to take you right about 55 minutes to get through it.
That was going to be one of my questions,
Yep.
so good.
And one of the things that we do recommend is to make a reservation because it is small groups of 30. We have shows starting every half hour. The first one is at 6.
Okay.
The last show is at 9:30.
Okay.
Again, about 50-55 minutes for each show. The other thing that we recommend is flat-soled shoes because we're going to be walking you around historic Jerome, and historic Jerome, as we all know and the viewers may not know, it's not the smoothest town in the world.
There's a few steps that you have to watch out for.
Exactly, and you know what we do is we take them around in the groups, like I had said, and this year we're doing a little different spin on it. If the viewers have seen it or have participated before, we always started it out at Spook Hall. This year what we're going to do is we're actually going to start it out on the parade steps, which is right across the street from the Mine Museum, right on Main Street.
Right.
The tickets will be available if they're will calls or whatever else. They'll be available at the Mine Museum. I will be working the table along with a couple other people, and we'll make sure that everybody's going to have a good time. So
it takes quite a bit to make the Ghost Walk a success.
Yes.
And you've got a lot of great people that work on all of the events that Jerome has. One of the things that's true is while the Ghost Walk itself is a project and it takes a lot of heart and soul to make it, heart and soul and spirit, to make it come out right, it takes the Jerome Historical Society infinitely more than that to keep the history of Jerome preserved. I think that we tend to take for granted, in my opinion, we have a lot of great historical societies throughout the entire Verde Valley that are preserving what made us what we are today.
Exactly.
So first of all, thank you for the work that all of you do. Being able to be involved a little bit with, I hope, please let me at least be alive in the 10 years for the 10-year time capsule from the Centennial event, and then the 100-year one. I mean, there's just a lot of work that goes into it, and I think that it speaks volumes that you keep making this, changing it and making it different and better than ever. 55 minutes or 50 or 55 minutes for the tour. October 12th and 13th, shows every half hour. Do you expect, you say wear flat shoes, but is it still a tour, a walk that most people can make?
Yes, it's a tour that most people can make. What we do is, the previous years we've had lots of steps. This year we don't have that many steps.
Okay.
You're always going to deal with steps in Jerome, but we're not going to take you from the lowest part of Jerome to the highest part of Jerome as some of the ghost walks were.
Okay.
It's a lot more user-friendly. Again, we recommend flat-soled tennis shoes, anything like that. And again, you're going to be walking on sidewalks, you're going to be walking up the streets and through the park and different locales and things like that in Jerome. The ticket pricing too is on Friday night runs $15 a person. Saturday is 20, and we do recommend, going to our website, which is www.jeromehistoricalsociety.com. You can go ahead and purchase your tickets there, or if you have some concerns or questions that need to be answered, have your viewers give us a call at 634-1066, which is our office.
We'll definitely do that. I know that the event is also on the myradioplace.com event website. We have had the information on screen, but please, please, if you have any other questions, you can call us here at the station, call the Historical Society. There's a lot of information, and it's definitely going to be worth it. We want to thank you very, very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Anything else that we need to know about what's coming up in Jerome, or what we need to know about the Historical Society?
Well, the Historical Society, we always have projects going. We have a board of directors who are actually my bosses, that are continuously thinking outside the box. And which is really neat, because it gives a little bit of flavor and pizzazz to what we have going on. Right. One of the things too is I'm hoping that within the next 12 to 14 months you will be able to access our website again, www.jeromehistoricalsociety.com, and you will be able to do all the research of everything that we have in our archives. And so the viewers can have a general idea. We have right about 80,000 pages of historic Jerome newspapers dating back to the late 1800s, approximately 25 to 35,000 photographs of Jerome, dating from the late 1800s all the way up to present. All sorts of documentation, mining records and all that. And you touch base on it a little bit, is the fact that, to be a resident of Jerome, you kind of have to have the flavor of history. And you have to respect the history. And as you become a longtime resident of Jerome, it's almost like a duty to retain that history. Right. And that's where it gets to be fun, because everybody kind of has the same focus in things. And, myself working for the Society, I give tours all the time, whether it's the kids or groups or whatever else. And, in a nutshell, our history and our industry used to be mining. Now our industry is tourism. And sometimes, history is fairly boring. Unfortunately, with Jerome, we got some pretty juicy history up there. Absolutely. So we invite people to, give us a call at the office, even if they have historic questions and things like that. If we can't answer the questions, we can send them in the right direction. Right. We got great historical societies throughout the Verde Valley. We've just been at it a little bit longer than most. So.
And some of it shows, and it's really great. There is so much information and many resources. Like you said, if you don't have the answer, you can point people the right direction. Visit their website, www.jeromehistoricalsociety, and you can stay in touch, and you'll be there when all those archived pieces are available. You bet. Thank you again. Appreciate
Thank you very much for the
invitation. Looking forward to it. I think I'm going to get scared, but I'm looking forward to it. And we do have to take a short break, and we will be right back after these messages, and we hope you come right back too. Stay tuned.
If you're looking for a new pet that your family will cherish every day, consider adopting from a shelter. Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. That's where you'll discover healthy, loyal, and loving animals, eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet, so bring home your new buddy today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Hi, I'm Ben Bueller, owner and funeral director at Bueller Funeral Homes. My grandfather once told me, you can serve a family selfishly once, or treat them right and serve that family for generations.
Bueller Funeral Home has been serving Arizona families for 3 generations with affordable and reasonable services. Bueller Funeral Home feels a funeral should be as unique and personal as the individual it honors, whatever your choices, your traditions, or your budget.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils.
Hi, and welcome back to Senior Living. We have had the opportunity on Senior Living to visit and to talk about a lot of different aspects, the revitalization of Old Town Cottonwood and how it's affected the entire city, the community, all of us living in it. One place that came to mind immediately for me is actually someplace that opened in 2005. Might have been just slightly ahead of its time when she opened, but our next guest, Pat Manheim, opened the Manheim Gallery in 2005, and we have been fortunate ever since that she has managed not only to survive here in Old Town Cottonwood, but to thrive. Pat, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We were just opening for our 2012-2013 season. We have some exciting things going on, and you picked the most perfect day to come because we're just finishing hanging a wonderful show called The 5 Seas of Arizona. The gallery represents about 15 artists who are regularly here, and we try and maintain presence for them all the time throughout the building, which is all gallery. Interestingly, it was built as a gallery, it was built as a dentist's office. And so it has these little examination rooms down the hall, which allow us to separate work by theme or by artist or by any number of things, so people can wander as they want to. We use the two main rooms for major shows of either our artists or, as in this case, a visiting exhibition that seemed to me appropriate and really exciting for the gallery. What else can I tell you about the gallery?
Well, first I was going to comment, I know that one of the reasons when you came back, the building appealed to you because of the rock on the outside of the building and how neat it is. And I didn't know that it was a dentist's office, so I was, you've explained a little bit of the history.
Well, it was a dentist's office, and even more amazing for its time, it was built in the 50s, and it was designed by a student in Frank Lloyd Wright's studio at Taliesin West in Scottsdale. I don't think Frank Lloyd Wright had his hands on it, but it certainly shows the impact of his designs on his students.
Right.
This wall, in the 50s, apparently you could go and pick up, I don't know if I should tell you this, pick up petrified wood. It's about 70% of the stone in this wall is petrified wood that the owners, the family, I think their name were Cather Woods, the dentist, two brothers, with stones that they were particularly interested in, gathered and brought up, and thus the wall.
I think in the 50s, a lot of that was fine to do. Nobody realized the historic value of all of that.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. So
but that accounts for the wall and this beautiful brick inside and the windows, and it's just, I was literally driving down this street with the realtor, and I saw that building and I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Well, it's a dentist office, but I happen to know it's going on the market." And I walked in, I said, "That's it."
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm doing with it, but it's definitely
right. Each of the rooms does make great studio, and it is something that Cottonwood can be very proud of. And again, as I mentioned, and we were talking earlier, you are one of, if not the only, true gallery here in Cottonwood. While we're surrounded by them, we have our very own gem right here.
Yeah, and there were, I want to remember Ramona Stites, who was here in Cottonwood, but she was the last of the really fine art galleries.
Right, I do remember
we were fortunate because I bought the building, we were able to kind of survive the downturn, and it is turning around for us also.
Well, the current show is the 5 Seas, which is very appropriate given the Arizona Centennial, and you have been kind enough to bring in one of the two artists that has created this show, and we're going to meet her right now.
That know the darkness in my soul, shadows on the hills.
Christine Dabrowski, welcome to Senior Living, and thank you so much for being available to join us. You are one of the artists that's responsible for this beautiful 5 C's show here at Mannheim Gallery, and welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted to be able to present the 5 C's to celebrate Arizona's centennial.
It's very exciting. First of all, we had this little bit of a lesson, and I know most everybody here in Arizona knows, but the 5 C's are?
They are copper, cattle, cotton, citrus, and climate.
Absolutely, and we've got them all, and they are all depicted in various forms here at the gallery. Tell us a little bit about how it came about.
Well, my friend Becky Joy told me about this project, and she happened to be sitting in my kitchen at the time, and she was looking around at some of my paintings, and she said to me, "Do you want to join me?" And I said, "Sure, it sounds like a really good project." So we worked together in some locations and then separately in other locations. We really did cover a lot of territory up the state in doing this project.
You certainly did, and I see, like I mentioned, representations of all of the C's. In particular, there are some very interesting representations of some of them, and I was particularly, we won't go into all of the details, but there's an airplane that fits into the 5 C's.
Right. Now, this is something that surprised me a great deal. During World War I, they needed rubber for aircraft tires.
Right.
And Arizona is known for a particular variety of a long staple cotton. The long staple cotton holds up better on those under those circumstances. So Arizona was an ideal growing climate.
Absolutely.
And it's why the big companies like Goodyear and Firestone located to Arizona.
So not only is the show your show, and the other artist is
Becky Joy.
Becky Joy. The representation is not only artistic, but it's also, there's a historical perspective to it, and it represents the centennial beautifully.
There is certainly an historic perspective. There's so much history here.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the shining stars here among many. I have to say, the Mannheim Gallery represents, as Pat mentioned earlier, many artists. And we would love to mention all of them, but I think it would be much more beneficial for you to come visit the gallery, take a look at what Cottonwood has to offer, what the Mannheim Gallery, as Pat mentioned, reopened for the season, and their information has been on the screen. Please get a hold of them and visit it. Thank you so much, Christine, for joining us today, and we want to thank Pat for allowing us to come into the gallery. And again, with the invitation to come visit, we're going to meet you back in the studio.
What you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll...
Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Hey, sweet baby, don't you think maybe that we could find us a brand new recipe?
I got a hot rod Ford and a $2 bill, and I know a spot right over the hill. The soda pop and the dance is free. If you want to have fun, come along with me now.
Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me?
Don't play magic fingers.
How's about keeping steady company? No more looking, I know I've been tooken. How's about saving all your time for me?
I'm gonna throw my date book over the fence and find me one for 5 or 10 cents. I'll keep it till it's covered with age, 'cause I'm writing your name down in every page. And I'll, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up? How's about cooking something up? How's about cooking something up with me?
Woo!
Thank you.
All right. Lorena Willman, Mike Burdick, the Verde Valley's very own Cactus Cats. All right. Thank you for coming in and joining us, and that was great. I've been seeing your names pop up in some of the different publications around here. You're kind of getting around. You guys get around. Is that how you want to put it?
We get around. Mostly Mike gets around.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go with that.
I don't
We'll go
advertise
with that one.
Well, we're trying to get around more and more. Yeah, it's
I've
a
seen
challenge.
Bit River Books, and that's been a great place for local musicians. Heritage Museum we mentioned. There's been a few other places that we'll talk a little bit about. Where did the Cactus Cats originate?
Where did the Cactus Cats originate, Mike?
Well, in Sedona, the Performers Guild had sponsored a songwriting, not contest, a songwriting program, and we both are songwriters, and that's where we met. We were both in the seminar, and I said I do pretty good with chords and melodies, and Lorena said she does pretty good with lyrics, and I said, maybe we could get together and do some things, and that led to us getting together. We've not really collaborated a lot. We've been working more on getting repertoire ready and that sort of thing.
Are you still part of the...
Mike knows about the guild.
Okay.
I'm a mix engineer.
Okay.
And it's now the Sedona Performing Arts Alliance.
Correct. But what a great organization to get some of the local musicians.
Oh, it's been great. We were part of Gumption Fest last year. We're on the slate for Gumption Fest again this year, and that call for musicians usually comes through the SPAA now, and so we answered that call, and we're going to don't have the schedule yet, but that's coming up in September.
Right.
And I've had an opportunity. I get to see. Oh boy, I've met traveling musicians, Grammy award-winning musicians, and I mix the shows there, and now at the Mary Fisher Theater as well, where they have comedians and usually just singer-songwriters, small acts, and that sort of thing. So it's been a wonderful opportunity for me to meet a lot of people.
Mary D. Fisher has been keeping very, very busy and keeping a lot of entertainment in and out of there.
Yeah, they've done a really great job. They've got all of these movies coming in, and then they worked out with the Performing Alliance that the International Film Festival doesn't do a lot of booking. They don't have expertise in booking live acts. So the SPAA is handling that, and we're also handling the sound requirements for those shows. So they have a full agenda with movies, and then we handle some of the live performances over there.
Well, although we love hearing about those kinds of venues, because we should feel very fortunate here in the Verde Valley that we have something like that we can take advantage of. But where else? I'm more interested right now in where else I can listen to the Cactus Cats.
On our website.
Website, that's true.
No, I want to go out. Where am I going to go to? Where else are you guys being able to appear?
Well, last year we did Moonlight Madness.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
In Uptown, so I'm not sure if that's on the slate yet for this year, but we had them dancing in the streets.
I can imagine.
We did. That was fun.
Yeah.
And we're working on some other venues right now. We've been kind of laying low because for the Bent River Books performance, we put together kind of an Americana thing all pre-1922, and we did a sing-along. And we did songs all the way back to Stephen Foster, Civil War era, and people came and sang along, and we had a ball. It took us, that was another one that took about a month of preparation.
Oh, I'm sure.
So we're a little bit behind in getting out there and doing some more bookings. But there are a lot of places in the area that I've played either solo or with other groups, and we're going to go knocking on doors.
Well, keep that in mind, and if you know any open doors that they can knock on, let's get them out there so that we can go take advantage of it. A couple songs here in the studio is just not nearly enough, that's for sure. Anything else that we should know about the two of you, or the two of you as Cactus Cats? What else do you want people to remember when they come check you out at some of the different venues?
To please dance.
Ah,
if there's room on the floor, please dance. We love to see people dance. And sometimes people are a little shy, but the truth is most of our music is very danceable.
And sing-alongable.
Yeah.
We have a very broad repertoire. We've really spent a lot of time on that. We've added a few original songs in there, so there's some fun new things that you've never heard. And just come out and have fun. We're about having fun. We laugh, we tell bad jokes. Well, Lorraine will tell you, I tell the bad jokes. That's my job. Besides playing guitar, I tell bad jokes.
Well, when you're out having fun, it's all about some of the bad jokes sometimes. I have to admit that. And I have to say that the dancing's good exercise, and you get to listen to somebody like this while you're getting some exercise and out there dancing and having fun. It doesn't get much better than that. So, having said that, let's hear some more of the another tune out of that repertoire.
All right.
Okay.
Cactus Cats.
Deep within my heart lies a melody, a song of old San Antone, where in dreams I live with a memory beneath the stars all alone. It was there I found beside the Alamo enchantment strange as the blue up above, and the moonlit past that only she would know. Still hears my broken song of love. Moon with all your splendor knows only my heart. Bring back my rose, rose of San Antone. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own. Broken songs, empty words I know, still live in my heart all alone. For that moonlit past beside the Alamo, and rose, my rose of San Antone. It was there I found beside the Alamo enchantment strange as the blue up above, and the moonlit past that only he would know. Still hears my broken song of love. Moon in all my splendor knows only my heart. Bring back my rose, rose of San Antone. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own. Moon in all your splendor knows only my heart. Bring back my rose, rose of San Antone. Lips so sweet and tender, like petals falling apart. Speak once again of my love, my own. Broken song, empty words I know, still live in my heart all alone. For that moonlit past beside the Alamo, and rose, my rose of San Antone. And rose, my rose of San Antone.